I join with the rest of the world and the BVI's National Commission of UNESCO to wish you a very happy International Literacy Day, which is celebrated on September the 8th every year. This year, the theme is literacy, teaching and learning in the COVID-19 crisis and beyond. As difficult as this pandemic is, it has helped to send the message that literacy is essential for our survival in this 21st century, quite literally. Those who cannot read the guidance that is meant to keep us safe are at a severe disadvantage. Lockdowns present excellent opportunities to read for learning and leisure. When we emerge from COVID-19, we can upskill and be poised to conquer the world. The ability to read and write is one of the most powerful tools in liberating us from ignorance and changing the trajectory of our lives. As a young child, my parents gave me comic books to spark the love of reading that I still benefit from today. I can truly testify that literacy helped to propel me to my purpose, which I am living today. No one is too old to learn to read. Our enslaved ancestors were denied the right to read because the educated were more difficult to enslave. Frederick Douglass, an enslaved man from the United States, learned to read, which further fueled his desire for freedom. He escaped and became one of the most powerful anti-slavery figures in the world. In the Virgin Islands, literacy helped to transform our society. The late great Willard Wheatley, as a headmaster and later as a chief minister, worked hard to ensure that our young people had the ability to read and learn. The late great Lavity Stout introduced comprehensive secondary education that made sure literacy and learning were rights for all. The participation of our people in our economy would not be possible without the foundation of literacy established by our ancestors. I encourage the entire public to continue trumpeting the essential nature of literacy. Parents, read to your babies. Take trips to the bookstore. Books make excellent gifts. Let's engender a love of literacy in our society, for we know that literacy is the key to unlocking learning and education the key to our success. Happy Literacy Day.
Hi, my name is Alison Flax Archer, Secretary General for the BVI National Commission for UNESCO, and today we are celebrating International Literacy Day. In 1966, UNESCO declared September 8th as International Literacy Day. International Literacy Day is a day to bring awareness to the importance of closing the literacy gap. Literacy stands at the heart of the 2030 Agenda and is a foundation for human rights, gender equality, and sustainable societies. This is why the Sustainable Development Goals aim for universal access to quality education and learning opportunities throughout people's lives. So this year, I thought I would pose the question to random persons throughout our community on what literacy means to them. Come along, take this journey with me. We will be enlightened by the unscripted thoughts on literacy. Let's see what the public has to say.
My name is Lynette Lapsett, and I'm a mother, poet, and a writer. Literacy is very important to me. From the time I was a small child, books were always my friends. I loved to read. I would read comic books, mystery books, different types of things, just to get knowledge as well. Today, I stand as a writer and a poet, and literacy is even more important because now I have the pen in my hand so that I could inspire others to continue in their journey when it comes to reading and literacy.
My name is Tia Pitos. In my perspective, literacy is a privilege which we all take for granted daily. Not everyone is given the ability to read or write. I think it's imperative for us to acknowledge how privileged we are regarding our different levels of literacy. We should show more appreciation and further develop our literary capabilities, for there are many people amongst the world who wish to share this same advantage.
It's very important, Alison. Literacy is the vehicle that allows persons to become empowered. For different persons, some may think it's just ability to read, but it's a method that you have to utilize to definitely navigate this world, not just in the Virgin Islands, the world beyond. Thank you.
Literacy is basically competence or knowledge in a specific area. For example, computer literacy. We need that, especially now where everyone is using technology to communicate with friends and family.
What does literacy mean to me? Just having the ability to read and write is empowering. So for persons out there who might not have access to proper education and who doesn't know to read or write, this is just some encouragement to you. You can be anything, always dream big and stay positive.
Literacy is the understanding or comprehension of a subject. It enables people to understand and dig deeply into a particular area.
Literacy is a key that connects us to the world. When you can read, you open so many doors of knowledge just waiting to be uncovered.
Literacy is being informed simply.
Literacy means the ability to read, write, listen, and speak.
All individuals are responsible for literacy, and literacy is the key to success.
Yeah, literacy means about teaching and learning, inspiring individual, to what is best. I remember in the early age of my son, showing him how to walk the backhoe, want him to even be like an architect in order to do things that that would be a benefit down the road as a family. So literacy means a lot to me from a family standpoint and even from friends and relatives.
In the broadest sense, literacy is the ability to read and write and interpret information. And it could be all kinds of information. We have so much technology and all of that today. And lately I've even heard about physical literacy, where you keep your body moving in order to be healthy. So literacy encompasses the broad spectrum of knowledge, assimilating knowledge.
My name is Sharma Nibs, and I am thrilled to be able to contribute to this documentary in celebration of International Literacy Day. During this COVID-19 crisis, instruction is no longer being done in person or in classrooms. It has shifted to being done remotely using live video calls. Literacy teaching and learning with the children that attend the reading room has been an almost seamless transition during the crisis. This is mostly because of children having access to resources like cell phones, computers, tablets, and the internet. What is literacy, you ask? The short answer: literacy is life. Reading and writing unlock unlimited potential and opportunities. Literacy is having the ability to purchase a plane ticket on your phone, catch a flight by navigating through the self-check-in kiosk at the airport, read the signs that would get you to the train and terminal for your connecting flight. Literacy is understanding how to navigate through life meaningfully. Here's another example. Literacy is reading a menu and knowing not to order quiche because you are lactose intolerant. Literacy is time and money management, budgeting. Literacy is the key to having unlimited opportunities here on this planet Earth.
What is literacy to me? Literacy technically is reading and writing, but the way I see literacy is that it's everything. And I remember when I was a teacher in high school and I saw the boys that couldn't read and didn't write properly, they were so angry. And obviously, I kind of linked some of it to reading because I didn't think that they were understanding well and comprehending well. And I vowed that I will make sure my son reads, and he reads above his grade level. And I insisted, and I really worked with him. So I always knew the importance of literacy, but having taught and then having my own son and that whole experience, it gave it a whole new meaning to me.
I am Charles Whitley. Thank you for the opportunity to share a brief statement with you on literacy. I grew up in the years following the end of the Second World War. During that period, an individual was considered literate if he or she could read a passage of moderate difficulty with about 500 words, and they could write a short letter to another person in cursive. It was the brief belief at that time that those skills were sufficient for one to find oneself in the world at that time. As the society changed, however, and became more sophisticated and complex through immigration and through industries like tourism, construction industry, financial services, and other economic activities, the individual needed additional skills and knowledge in order to function in the world in which we live today. They also needed to have some kind of knowledge about the electronic technology, which is current today. So they needed more skills, more knowledge, in order to find oneself in the world, so that the individual would be able not only to read and write, but to be able to use the technologies from the slate to the iPad.
Hello everyone, my name is Judith Ann Medina Waterman and I teach grade 4 at St. George's Primary. Everyone expects that literacy means basic reading and writing. For me, it includes body language, culture, working in groups effectively, knowing social norms, practical skills like lab work, even making presentations in music and drama. Teaching at the primary level means that I include the development of multiple intelligences while also being aware of the mixed abilities and modes of learning among my students. Lessons must help them all to discover, to create, and to be guided to become useful citizens in their society. Enter COVID-19, and suddenly online teaching appears. Because of the uncertainty, this meant reassuring and grounding the children so that they were in a frame of mind to actually learn. But guess what? All those literacy considerations had to be extended to parents, as many attended classes along with their kids. Exploring the new normal of teaching and learning together online was actually exciting. My students often complained that the day had gone by way too fast. They particularly loved the virtual vacation presentations. They found language easy. We held discussions in science and social studies, but we lived for journal writing and presentations. COVID brought new opportunities for sharing. New class leaders were even created. Mute your mic, please, became our new class slogan. Overall, it was a lot of fun, though sometimes frustrating. You know how net. And not having a board to learn fractions was tedious, to say the least. Personally, in addition to the fun and excitement, it was also extremely exhausting. Mind you, all my lovely targets were achieved, And while teaching online saved time in travel, the price was paid in preparation, those PowerPoint presentations, marking on the phone, then delivery for understanding for each child while keeping them interested. Most of all, having to keep up my own energy levels in the relative vacuum of online teaching was very taxing. The challenge moving forward for the new school year would be to establish a relationship of discipline and rapport with a group of children I've never had the opportunity to interact with normally face to face. Whatever happens though, my goal will always be to impart the sheer pleasure, the joy of learning to my charges. Bye.
There are so many different types of literary skills to maintain that even unconsciously one is always engaged with one form or another. For me, the lockdown was a splendid opportunity to purposely spend time with one or two literary forms. I deliberately spent time reading and learning from books that were on my waiting list for years. That also meant spending more time with my Bible and devotional books. Regularly meditating on what I'd read or heard really paid off because I found that I was being inspired by the Holy Spirit in the writing of hymns. I have even received tunes to the hymns as well. Hymn writing and singing are ways of spreading scriptural holiness to transform the nation and to keep ourselves actively literate on the spiritual side of our being. You see, when you are engaged with creating the tools of literacy, you become literate yourself. You become more literate yourself. And when you bring others along with the creating, then it is a double blessing and the yield is rich. That is why I launched the literary competition so that Virgin Islanders and the residents would have an extra opportunity to create literature, which is one of the most important tools for maintaining literacy. Yes, I was involved with answering the participants' questions and also assisting others with research on their own projects. There were indirect ways of teaching and maintaining those literacy and research skills. I have always encouraged persons to write about their parents, their grandparents, their family, the community in which they live, as far back as they could remember. When you write down your own experiences and stories, you're creating a cultural and historical record. Yes, you're writing history. Virgin Islanders, you are writing history. And in some instances, it becomes a form of healing, a form of therapy for you, the writer. During lockdown, I had the opportunity to spend more time with an individual who has embarked upon writing her personal story. I have been helping her along the process. And at this point, I am pleased to say that her book is well on the way to being published. So for me, the lockdown may have brought many difficulties and frustrations, but it also brought a time for reflection, for helping others, and for receiving many blessings, which I am sharing with you and with the world. Thank you.
For a moment, imagine with me, how would you feel traveling to a new place, having to read the various signs or billboards for direction without understanding what is shown? Or imagine yourself as a homemaker or a chef having to use the correct measurements to prepare your favorite recipe and you can't understand. Can you imagine how an illiterate person feels on a daily basis? Lost and bewildered. This is why, as an educator, ensuring my students are literate is crucial for me. As my students engage in various levels of literacy, they will be empowered to build their comprehension, writing, and communicative skills. But wait, COVID-19 almost destroyed this empowerment as we were faced with our students not returning to the physical classroom in April 2020. All educators' fear was, would our students ever have a semblance of what they knew? Would they be ever given the opportunity in this devastating situation to continue engaging in various modes of literacy so that they would continue to be adequately prepared to become productive and educated citizens? The answer came as the Ministry of Education engaged all stakeholders in online learning. Despite the varying frustrations of mastering this new platform, all students were empowered as the educators felt or did different things to depict and enhance their literate abilities. Through the use of creative and stimulating slides created by the educators and the original and engaged participation of students through posters, role play, videos, games, our students' reading and writing skills were improved or catered to, and their communicative skills were developed and further enhanced. Our students have now been channeled to meet the demands of this 21st century and are looking forward to the new school year with great anticipation. Yes, COVID-19 brought its suffering and devastation, but because of resilience and innovation, it also created an enriched literate community. Indeed, the words of Kofi Annan have been proven. Literacy is a bridge between misery and hope.
Hi, my name is Rafael de Rosario, and literature based on dictionary is the ability to read and write, and in my terms it is the way to express oneself. I've written 2 songs and I've used literature to express various emotions and feelings that I had while writing.
Yeah, teaching during that pandemic was quite a challenge for me. It brought about, I would say, quite a new set of experiences. That was a new experience for me, in that I was never exposed to it. I never expected it to come. But at the same time, it created some challenges, serious challenges, as well as opportunities. Challenges in terms of getting acquainted with the different platforms that we had to work with, and making sure that you use it to your advantage so that you can deliver the goods to the students. It also created challenges for the students in terms of, one, they were not prepared for that, and the setting, it's like their mindset wasn't one that would allow them to sit down and participate. It took them a little while before they could sit down, settle down, as in other words, and then to begin to participate meaningfully in the different classes. It also brought about a situation where sometimes there were serious problems with the internet. The connectivity issue, it created problems in different areas of the territory. So that too created a problem. Sometimes, they would tell you they are unable to hear you, or, their internet giving them problems, and so on and so forth. There was also a challenge where some of the students in the initial stages, or in the initial stage of the lockdown, where they were supposed to work using their devices, such as their cell phones, which again could create a little problem. But in terms of opportunities, though, I was able to use that platform and use it to my advantage. I was also able to learn a lot from the different platforms that we were using, and it just made me aware that with the changing, the way the world is changing, that we have to be versatile, and we have to be able to adapt and make the changes quickly from one stage to the next. And that is what it has brought to me. It's like, now I know that I can just switch from the regular classroom situation to the non-regular classroom situation if needs be. Because when we look at the whole situation, COVID-19, it doesn't look or seems like it is leaving us soon. So we have to be ready, willing, and able to adapt to any situation which comes. So that is one of the major advantages it has really brought, or I gained from it, because now I know that with very short notice, I would be able to switch from one to the next. But all in all, it was quite an experience, and I think it will continue to be an experience for us in the British Virgin Islands, as well as other parts of the world.
Is literacy important? Yes, it is. Knowing how to read, but not just knowing how to read, but knowing how to express yourself, knowing how to reach out and connect with your fellow man. That is all a part of what literacy is. And for young people, now more than ever, they have such a wider platform. They have the social media platform, but it goes beyond that. It goes to the personal, the interpersonal, reaching out to our older folk, reaching out to members of our community. That is civic literacy, knowing and understanding the importance of interconnection. So, yes, literacy, knowing how to read is essential, but also the human connection is just as important. So, from the Department of Youth Affairs and Sports, I encourage all our young people to become more and more literate.
Greetings, Virgin Islands and the world. I am so pleased that UNESCO is placing the focus of International Literacy Day 2020 on adult education and lifelong learning in these challenging times of the COVID-19 pandemic. As a grandmother, writer, and a transformative educator, I am constantly learning that while we school our children, we must not overlook the ever-changing literacy needs of adults and youth who require real support in building and sustaining the confidence and dignity that the human right to literacy promises us, especially in difficult times. But to achieve this, adults and youth need public learning spaces that are free, safe, supportive, equalizing, and empowering. UNESCO has endorsed public libraries as such pivotal learning spaces for the advancement of adult literacy for national development. Yet, we have not had substantive access to public library services in the Virgin Islands for 4 years. That is why I seize this opportunity on International Literacy Day to appeal to our leaders of state to restore our public library services and put our librarians back to work in their professional capacities as literacy facilitators, public educators, e-library service innovators, information providers, and documentalists of our ongoing stories, our history, and our culture, which are all under threat of loss if we fail to collect, circulate, and preserve them. Let's get lit with adult and youth literacy. Let's reconfigure and utilize our public libraries in the service of lifelong learning for all our people. Let us make this International Literacy Day 2020 the most meaningful one ever.
I still hold a traditional view that literacy is reading, writing, and numeracy. But definitely as Chief Education Officer, I take it a little bit further. It's ensuring that there's a good foundation, learning foundation, reading, writing, numeracy, and comprehension must come in there in the package. And that these young people, whoever is exposed, will be definitely able to function in this society. We want to know that our children that are literate in this land, in this territory, are able to function wherever they go because of their firm educational foundation.
So there you have it. Most people thought literacy was the ability to read and write, to be educated, to understand. What do you think? Well, let me say that literacy should never be overstated. I believe that literacy is a fundamental human right and the foundation of all education and lifelong learning. Literacy transforms the lives of people, allowing them to make informed choices and also empowering individuals to become agents of change. I believe that literacy hinges on essential building blocks from childhood, but we know that it is not a universal language as yet, but is essential to reaching the proposed United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, and in particular, education for all, which is goal number 4 by 2030. How? We do this by promoting inclusive and equitable quality education and lifelong learning for everyone. I hope you enjoyed the message shared by many throughout our community. Now let us do our part to remember and share that literacy must be a priority in peace-building agenda of all nations. Thank you.